tuned in to the 411 for your fantasy football with your host, Autumn Wind Williams.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Autumn Wind Williams. You're now tuned in to the 411 for your fantasy football. We are now at week 2 of the XFL 2020 season. It was pretty cool checking out football last week, week 1. I did pretty well, about 7x of what I put in investments. The lineup that I gave you guys last week did okay. I mean, we had Phillip Walker go out there and get over 32 fantasy points. My pick with Elijah Hood didn't do good, but not that many running backs did that great in week 1 either. Jeff Badet, he didn't do that great. Khalil Lewis, he went out there and balled. Rashad Ross, he went out there, got a touchdown too. He did okay, only 2 receptions, but he got us what we needed. Due to it was a lot of low-scoring lineups, I was able to cash, like I said before, about 7 or 8x from the amount that I put in. This week I'm going to provide you a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a flex play, and my defense of the week. This week is going to be interesting because we got the All-Star weekend coming around. I know it's going to be like a lot of NBA DFS fans that's going to probably try to get their feet wet with some XFL DFS for the first time on DraftKings. FanDuel, me personally, I'm not playing this week. I don't like the way that they have the lineup set up, where, you know, even last week they had Saturday, Sunday separated on the slates, and if you did play Saturday, Sunday lineups, it was at a lower dollar amount of cash that you can win. So I'm hoping that FanDuel start realizing that it's not the way that they should be arranging these slates, because it makes no sense to have Saturday slate and Sunday slate. So FanDuel, that's where you're failing. Yahoo should step it up and also get involved with the XFL, because last week was proof that it's going to be around for a while. People are excited about it, especially when they can play DFS. How I feel like it's going to be interesting too is we got Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow. So say if you are playing on Saturday slate, it might be a chance for you people out there that only have DFS life, no significant other. You might be able to take advantage of people that's out there celebrating Valentine's Day. They might not be ready for game block at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. So you might want to take consideration on some FanDuel lineups if you want to follow that type of narrative. But I think it's about time for us to just get into the plays. I got a lot of other things I got to take care of before tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is let you know first who I have at quarterback. Well, we all know Houston Roughnecks' game plan is run and shoot. I wanted to play Phillip Walker again because how great he was last week. But when you look at how expensive he is, I don't think that's the way to go. I might have some Phillip Walker in my lineups, but as far as with my main lineup, I don't feel like that's the way to go. He's the highest priced quarterback on DraftKings. What I'm going to do, I'm going to mess around with his opponent and play him in my main lineup. You know, because everybody wants to play Phillip Walker this week too. And, you know, it's just pushing me away from playing in my main lineup. And I'd rather hedge against the field that's going to have a chalky Phillip Walker. And I feel like his opponent can go out there and potentially get as many or more fantasy points at a cheaper price. Jordan Ta'amu, you know, he completed 20 of 27 passes for 209 yards with a touchdown, no interceptions, and also rushed for 77 yards. Those rushing yards is one of the main reasons why I'm selecting Jordan Ta'amu, because, you know, last week they were expected to lose against the Dallas Renegades, and they were only able to put up 5 fantasy points on defense and got defeated. And I think that he can at least go out there and match his 20 fantasy points that he got last week. I think, that's the bare minimum that Jordan Ta'amu is going to have in his game. I'm picturing it to be one of the highest scoring game, actually the highest scoring game for the slate. So, yes, I'm going to lock in some Jordan Ta'amu for the Saturday-Sunday slate. Moving on to my running back, I have Davion Smith. Now, I'm just going to say this. I'm keeping my eye on the Tampa Bay Vipers at quarterback this weekend because it's going to make a big difference how many lineups I play Davion Smith in. The reason why is Clinton Flowers is a Vipers backup quarterback, but is used in dual positions to run the ball. And they have Aaron Murray, who's injured with a foot. He can possibly sit out for week 2, and that's going to have Quentin Flowers filling that starting spot at quarterback. And that's going to open up a lot of playing time for Davion Smith on the field at running back, if that so happens. If so, I'm going to be filling up a lot of lineups with Davion Smith. Now, Tampa Bay Vipers, Seattle Dragons are going to be running the ball a lot in this game due to expected to be rainy and high winds in Seattle. So I'm expecting him to get a lot of touches, especially how they focus on the run game with Flowers at quarterback. I think Davion Smith can go out there and get pretty much what he got as far as rushing, 79 yards on 16 carries, but this time I want him to at least get 1 touchdown. So that's who I have at quarterback this week's slate. So moving on to wide receiver. This is going to be my That's Gross, aka WTF, What Are You Thinking play of the week. Sammy Coates. I'm going on the other side, stacking that game. Houston Roughnecks and the St. Louis Battlehawks with Sammy Coates. He only caught 2 of his 9 passes for 26 yards. I know it sounds really gross, huh? But I have a feeling he's going to bounce back this game. It's hard to avoid a guy that's getting 9 targets in a game when he's not producing. Plus, St. Louis-Houston game, in my opinion, like I said, I think it's going to be the highest scoring on the slate. So it only makes sense to go with the guy that's going to get a lot of targets and can set you up with a lot of fantasy points if he finally catches the ball more consistently. All right, moving on to my flex. I'm going to stay in that game and stack with my quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu. I got Alonzo Russell, St. Louis Battlehawks wide receiver. He caught only 3 passes on 5 targets for 49 yards, but he got a touchdown also in week 1. And he's a deep pass speedster. I saw him play for the New York Giants in the 2019 preseason, where he only caught 6 of his 20 targets for 131 yards. That was 21.8 yards per reception and 2 touchdowns. And the Battlehawks should be relying on him more since they are down 2 receivers that's on IR and 1 already questionable that did not practice this week. Last but not least, Dallas Renegades. I'm just going to tell you like this. LA Wildcats, I plan to pick on them a lot this week on offense and defense. I might even do an onslaught of the Dallas Renegades. They're going to bounce back this week easily. They're starting Josh Johnson, the oldest quarterback in the XFL on the slate, and he did not do much in his NFL career since being drafted in 2008. I already told you guys how I was doubtful with him last week. But since 2008, he hasn't did much but get cut from team to team, man. And I know he can use his legs, but he is coming back from a thigh injury. I wonder how that's going to play. And last week, LA Wildcats, they just seem insecure with their backups. So that's a plus for, Josh Johnson, I'd say. But it can also mess him up. If they just insecure with him, they might put him out the game. But the way they were so insecure with their backups, bringing them in and out of the game, man, it's not that type of team you want to rely on in your main lineup. Also, they fired the defensive coordinator and released their main edge rusher that was also the team captain. And one other known fact that I don't see a lot of people looking at is the home field advantage. If the Chargers can't get home field support in LA, I doubt the LA Wildcats will get any either. When you're talking about them establishing a new franchise and a new league, and they're not supporting a team that they had moved back to LA for 2 or 3 years now, I don't see a lot of fan support coming out there for the LA Wildcats. So that's what I have for you guys for my main lineup. Let me bring it top to bottom. At quarterback, I have Jordan Ta'amu from the St. Louis Battlehawks going against the Houston Roughnecks. At running back, I have Davion Smith. Tentatively, depending on what's going on with the quarterbacks. He's with the Tampa Bay Vipers. They're going against the Seattle Dragons. At wide receiver, I have Sammy Coates from the Houston Roughnecks going against the St. Louis Battlehawks. At my flex, I have St. Louis Battlehawks wide receiver going against the Houston Roughnecks. At defense, I got the Dallas Renegades. So that's what I have for you guys. Tell me who you can put in your lineups. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the 411DFS. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you know when I'm making another video. I'm going to try to be around all XFL season long. Also give you some NFL updates through free agency, maybe some draft for fantasy season long, NFL. I'm trying to look into considering making a podcast too, and just thinking of other things I can do, get this channel active. But the only way the channel's actually going to be active is if you guys are also active. That's right. So make some replies on the video and build your lineup strong. Get out there and just win, baby. Peace. I'm out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 411 Podcast. Now get ready to make that money. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the 411 DFS.